Oh, Renthimus, you silly fat cow. Myers versus Waid. Myers is a success. Waid is a liability. Jamal Igle is just a silly Billy now. The process as the punishment. Waid did not learn a lesson, but everyone that hires him in the future will have learned a lesson about Mark Waid. Waid has deep, deep emotional problems. He will get hired again. The far left will cover for him. He's one of their darlings, but they will be keeping an eye on him. Oh yeah, Mark Waid. He's that weirdo who tried to destroy a new comic creator, a veteran of two branches of the service, 12 years, a father to a bunch of mixed race kids from women all over the world. Zach gets around. He also called a bisexual black guy a white supremacist. Yeah, that Mark Waid. Now, any nonsense accusation Waid makes about anyone is going to be taken with a very large grain of salt. Will the SJWs go back to attacking Comicsgate? What effect will the Biden era have on things? Now that the right-of-center Comicsgate is on the side of the underdog, I think Biden will be very good for Comicsgate and the Phantom Menace and right-of-center channels in general. In this regard, it's better to be the underdog. An addendum to that, I wrote corollary, but I knew I wouldn't be able to pronounce it, so I had to write addendum, is that fewer of us will be on YouTube because they have slowly been getting rid of us, but DLive will make up for it, and to a lesser extent, BitSlide and BitChute. Pre-2016, when we were the party out of power, we were doing great on social media. It was like that, it's always like that way on talk radio. When the party's out of power, talk radio, right-wing talk radio is on fire, which used to be great if you had to drive a lot. But that old YouTube environment is totally gone. I sort of get the feeling that even the big Comicsgate channels won't be safe for too much longer. If the SJWs go back to calling us monsters, eventually they can get channels removed. All it takes is enough complaints if you're right of center. Getting a left-wing channel removed is just about impossible. If EVS, DNC, Flash, Tug, and the rest started streaming on live stream, they would pull their audience over there. DLive is big now. It's a thing. Check it out. If Gail Simone goes on another tirade, so what? Actually, it probably helps Comicsgate when bloated SJW land whales come after us. Outrage dollars are as green as any other, and a percentage of that audience will stick around to help build your platform. Without Zach fighting with SJWs on Twitter, he got boring. The majority of his audience just want to hear about the outraged soy boys who make comics, not the actual comics themselves, which is fine because the comics suck. But laughing at Joe Glass and Mags is pretty entertaining. But like I said, YouTube is cracking down on that sort of thing because their Joe Glass and Mags are in a protected class. If Zach tried to make videos like he used to, he might get strikes from YouTube. I know all about that. So who knows what the future holds, but I think DLive and BitChute are going to play an ever-increasing role. What was Zach talking about years ago? Comics suck because of left-wing, anti-white, anti-male propaganda, and the industry is in trouble. So what has happened? EVS, Zach, Doug Tenable, Cecil, Doug Ernst, Mike Miller, John Malin, Tug, and others have been selling to their audience. The mainstream is still in business, but it gets smaller every year. The SJWs control mainstream comics, but they can't force people to buy them. To be fair, the gift from China didn't help them. I was going to say it didn't help either, but it didn't help them. It did help our side. What started this all was the SJW's inability to accept criticism. They assumed they could sell these insane, hate-filled comics and get no feedback. They're a group of people who got participation ribbons. They need constant affirmations to get through their day. The rest of us are used to having the media blood libel us daily. It builds a tolerance to hatred. We call each other bundles of sticks who should excise themselves from this plane of existence. But we don't take it seriously. It's how normal people talk. We all saw the temper tantrum Mark Waid had when a live stream chat made fun of him. Fix this now, I'm off to France. What people say in the comments, good or bad, is just a normal part of social media. But SJWs are guys who act like SJWs. Ethan, feel the need to micromanage the comments. You're allowed to read something you disagree with and just go back to minding your own business. You're a public figure. People are going to say things to you about you that are offensive. Anything less than a threat you can ignore. Someone may hate you at first, but before slowly coming around to changing their mind. When Zach was criticizing comics, they could have ignored it or improved their product. Instead, they threatened violence against him and his kids and his many ex-wives and girlfriends. They also tried to deplatform him. Nobody in mainstream comics spoke out against the threats of violence. They continued to whip their followers up into a frenzy, knowing that many of their followers are mentally ill. 2 of the trans people in mainstream comics had violent fantasies. The SJWs won battles but lost the war. There are more SJWs in comics than the industry can support. They're looking for other jobs, but when does a furlough turn into you're in an entirely different industry? When does your bio change from comic writer to ex-comic writer now selling insurance? I assume Zach will do a video in 2021 about who has left comics and how few remain. Waid and Kwanzaa did a comic called Ignited. It sold horribly. Both are well-known names, but now they're known for losing their minds from Trump derangement syndrome. Maybe they'll recover under Biden, but I kind of doubt it. Somehow I think that level of damage is probably permanent. The thing is, as we enter 2021, the Twitter Marxists can complain about Comicsgate all they want, but they've got a hard time criticizing the comics or even the channels because they don't read them or watch the channels. We make fun of their comics, but we can back it up with screenshots of the comics that we totally didn't pirate. And with cons shut down, at least until the shot is widely available and people take it if they choose to, Comicsgate is in a perfect position to sell via mail order. Even Gail Simone started a YouTube channel, but when she learned that it actually does take some effort, she abandoned it. Don't kid yourself, it's not rocket science. A few other SJWs started channels, but it is more difficult for them, not because they're not smart and creative people, they usually are, but because so many topics are haram for them. If they talk about a comic, a show, a video game, and it's got a purse puppy in it, then the SJWs are not allowed to give it feedback if they are lower on the oppression ladder than the other person. Otherwise, they'll be called istophobic. They believe in the soft bigotry of lowered expectations and are terrified to speak out about anything unless it's against a blonde German man. They're like Kevin Smith doing film reviews. Everything is genius, and he ends up crying. Okay, I wanted to make 2 quick points about the First Amendment and the Fifth Amendment. In short, they apply to everybody. So Xana Dude, cute, says, does this mean that Nick Rekieta can't talk about it either, like Dickie and his attorney can't discuss the case with anyone, including Nick, because I'm down for that. Dickie and his attorneys can't discuss the case. The parties to the action might be silent, but anyone else can talk about the case all they want. Knock yourself out. So, law, this is of Jamal Igle. Yep. Ooh, then if Nick live streams, he's implicating Dick in breaching the confidentiality agreement. No, why would he? He's not a party. That's correct. Oh, you idiot. It opens Meyer to sanctions and opens Nick to disciplinary action by the Bar Association. Okay, no, none of that's true. Nick has the First Amendment protections, and he also has Fifth Amendment due process protections. The Bar Association is not a it's not a king. They're subject to due process. They're a state agency. Any state agency has to follow the Constitution, the Fifth Amendment due process, and the First Amendment freedom of speech. No, Jamal. And the thing is, there's a misunderstanding with bar disciplinary actions. The things they think attorneys can get disbarred willy-nilly. No. The most serious thing a young attorney learns when they take the professional responsibility exam, which is I think it's a 3-hour exam before the 18-hour bar exam. So it's like 21 hours of total examinations to become a state licensed attorney. The most important thing is commingling of funds. It's the breaching your fiduciary duty to the client, which involves money. So you treat their money as sacred. You don't commingle funds. You pay them when you're supposed to. If there's a dispute, there are ways to handle it, but you treat their money as just absolutely sacred. So people think, oh, this guy's a racist, he's a sexist, she's a whatever, I caught them smoking pot. That doesn't get you disbarred. The bar can't just do what it wishes. It has to follow due process. The bar has to take you to court, and you have to go to court, and you have the right to redress of grievance like any other action against the state. If you commingle funds, that's a whole different story. But no, there are people who got in all kinds of trouble not related to breach of fiduciary duty. There are people who smuggled drugs, and the bar said, okay, well, why don't you take a few years off, go get clean and sober, and then we'll reinstate you. And it's just that easy. It's not like, it's not these little things that you get busted for. It's people mistakenly will say things are privileges and not rights. No, if it's granted by the state, then it's a right that is entitled to due process protections for anything. I've heard that said about driver's licenses. No, they can't just, an agent of the DMV can't just take your license away without due process. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. Hail Comicsgate. Oh, what does Renfamous say at the bottom? I don't know why she's so salty. Here's the thing: is Jamal's dumb, or I don't know if dumb's fair to say. He's just ignorant on this, and he's kind of speaking from wishful thinking. He wants these guys to get in trouble because for some reason he doesn't like them. Though if you don't like Nick Rekieta, I like Nick Rekieta a lot, and I don't watch his show because I'm doing other stuff. So Jamal doesn't like Nick Rekieta, and he's, I guess, watching his show, taking notes. Why would you do that? Why bother? I don't know what is up. Okay, Renfamous is smart, but Jamal Igle, if I remember right, I'm almost positive he's black, and Renfamous is not. So Jamal is higher on the oppression ladder than Ren. Ren is smart. She's a smart girl. She's got does something in economics or accounting or something like that. That's a tough BS. She's got a smart job. She's a smart chick. I've heard her. She's quick. But she knows Jamal is mistaken here, and she's not going to correct him because she can't correct somebody who is higher on the oppression ladder than she is. That's the really effed up thing about SJWs. If normal people see somebody making a mistake, will take you aside and say, hey, bro, you're wrong about this. Correct his mistakes. You don't embarrass yourself. That kind of thing. SJWs can't do that if they feel the person is below them. And I know it sounds really screwed up to say that, but I think that is how they feel. Where normal people, just like, we don't want to see you walk around with your zipper undone. Zip it up. You made a mistake. Here's how you correct it. It's like, oh, thanks, bro. Thanks for treating me like an equal. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, guys. I'll see you on the next episode.